Where was the Garden of Eden? Synonymous with paradise, God created the Garden of Eden as a home for the first man and woman. After God cast Adam and Eve out of the garden for their disobedience, what happened to it? Was Eden an idea alone or a physical location, as the Bible seems to imply? Eden in the book of Genesis? According to Genesis 2:8-15, God created the Garden of Eden following the seventh day. And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the west, and there he put the man whom he had formed. Out of the ground the Lord made to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. A river flows out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divides to become 4 branches. The name of the first is Pishon. It is the one that flows around the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Bdellium and onyx stone are there. The name of the second river is Gihon. It's the one that flows around the whole land of Cush. The name of the third river is Tigris, which flows east of Assyria, and the fourth river is Euphrates. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to till it and keep it. And as Genesis continues, Adam and Eve disobey God's command by eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God cast them out of Eden, and humanity lost the glorious garden. Tigris and Euphrates. Genesis names the 4 rivers branching from the first river that flows from Eden. The Tigris and Euphrates, Genesis 2:14, run about 1,000 miles from headwaters in eastern Turkey through Iraq, converging and emptying into the Persian Gulf. These twin rivers created the cradle of civilization, or Mesopotamia, the ancient Greek name for the land between the rivers. Pishon and Gihon. The location of Gihon and Pishon, Genesis 2:11-13, remains unknown. The courses of the Euphrates, and particularly the faster flowing Tigris, have shifted over thousands of years. The Pishon and Gihon may have been ancient tributaries or branches of these 2 mighty rivers. These few geological clues about Eden from Genesis lead us to Mesopotamia, or modern-day Iraq. Eden and Mesopotamia. The idea of Eden does not originate in the Hebrew Bible, but in earlier Mesopotamia, the home of ancient Sumerians, Babylonians, Akkadians, Assyrians, Kassites, and Hebrews. The name Eden is not Hebrew, but originates in another Semitic language, Akkadian. Edinu or Edin means plain or uncultivated land. Connections to the Old Testament and Mesopotamian literature. Early Mesopotamian traditions frequently overlap with many stories of the Old Testament. The Babylonian creation epic, Enuma Elish, features the creation of the world and humanity, the flood, and a covenant between the gods and humanity. The epic of Atrahasis includes another account, Atrahasis being Noah, another account of the flood and a Noah-like leader, Atrahasis, who saves humanity from destruction. Many different Mesopotamian stories recount the creation of humanity. Some involve dirt or clay, and some endow humans with a divine spirit. Mesopotamian literature also offers parallels to the Garden of Eden. Epic of Gilgamesh, the Garden of Gemstones. The Epic of Gilgamesh begins in the 3rd millennium in Uruk, the foundational city of Iraq. Written in cuneiform around 1800 BC, the 10-tablet epic recounts the journey for wisdom by the young king Gilgamesh. In tablet 10, following an arduous trek through deserts and mountains, he arrives at a fantastic and bountiful garden by the sea. The surviving tablets are badly broken but tell of thorny, prickly, spiky bushes blossoming with gemstones. Carnelian bore fruit handing in clusters, lovely to look at. Lapis lazuli bore foliage, bore fruit, and was delightful to view. The beautiful and verdant setting echoes some details from Genesis. Epic of Gilgamesh, Enkidu's origins. In Tablet 1 of the same epic, Gilgamesh's partner Enkidu is born into an Edenic setting. The goddess Aruru forms Enkidu of clay and casts him into the countryside. There he lived, dressed, and ate like the animals until a woman opened his eyes to civilization by clothing him and feeding him the food of mankind. Once so enlightened, the animals rejected Enkidu and he became an outcast from nature. Enkidu's origins, controls of animals, and transformation mirror those of Adam. While Enkidu did not live in a garden, he lived in a state of paradise, the plains Eden of Mesopotamia. Eridu and the Ubaid civilization. If looking for historical analogues to Eden, archaeologists might point to the early civilization of southern Mesopotamia. The Ubaid culture of the Tigris-Euphrates marshlands built the first city of Mesopotamia at Eridu. The ruins of Eridu are found today in a desert landscape. However, 8,000 years ago, the Persian Gulf extended much further inland. Fertile marshes fed by the Euphrates surrounded the cities of Eridu, and the inhabitants would have benefited from a highly diversified ecosystem. They relied on freshwater fish, birds, animals, marine life from the Persian Gulf, and products from irrigated farmlands on the city's outskirts. While only a small number of people would have lived in Eridu, they would not have lacked resources. Abzu, the first home of the gods. Around 5500 BC, the people of Eridu built the first temple of Mesopotamia. This small mud brick structure was about 15 feet long and sitting atop a small mound. This temple was Abzu, dedicated to Enki, the god of fish, water, and creator of humans in Sumerian tradition. Mesopotamian art depicts Enki with fresh water streaming from his shoulders. Eridu and Enki feature in many Sumerian and later Mesopotamian stories as the first home of the gods and as a site that survives a devastating global flood. Eridu was Mesopotamia's first civilization, just as Eden was the first home to humanity in Genesis. Is the Garden of Eden real or an imagined place? So was the Garden of Eden a real place or a state of paradise? That may be best left to the reader to decide. A survey of biblical literature, Mesopotamian texts, and Sumerian archaeology lead us to many clues of Eden's origins as an idea. Therefore, like the Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant, the physical garden itself remains elusive. And this is by Vicky on Historic Mysteries. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.